Hey y'all, welcome to the Devon A. Morris Unfiltered call-in show. Have a seat. Let's get ready. You have any questions? Come on, call in. Come on to that Discord channel. Do me a favor, get the Unfiltered crew some finger snaps. We're ready to get started here. Mondays, 8 p.m. Every single Monday, we're here. I'm excited about it. Are you? Let's get this show started, y'all. The greatest Scrum show on earth. I'll see y'all soon. Enjoy. All right, I don't have any special effects here, but I'll clap anyway. I'll just clap for the fun of it, right? So welcome everyone that is joining us right now, out on LinkedIn or on YouTube, wherever you're at, you're welcome here. First and foremost, my name is Devon Morris. I am, the person that's going to help you out today, right? I've been around Scrum for a little bit of time. I've been around Agile for a little bit of time. I've owned a business for a little bit of time. So I'm here to answer the questions that you may have. Now, first and foremost, just again, hey, hello to everyone. I'm super excited today. We're going to actually talk about certification renewal. Like last week, we actually talked about goals. So hopefully you have a goal or you have several goals, right? I hope you have many goals, right? I have health goals, I have professional goals, I got goals for each business, I got things we're trying to achieve. So I'm all over the place with my goals. But hopefully you have some goals. Now, the statement here is how we operate on this show isn't complicated. I'm gonna drop in the chat right now the fact that you can join us either live, right? Or you can drop your question in the chat. Either one works for me. I just want to do whatever's going to work best for you because you are the audience. You are the people that I'm here ultimately to serve. So just drop a hello in the chat. Say what's up, hi to me if you're live. Those people that are coming after this, you're going to watch it. You're going to watch the replay at some point. Well, there's no replay. It's on demand. So if you want to see it on demand, you're welcome to join us on the YouTube site or at least on the channel. Subscribe on the channel. Like and subscribe. It actually helps with the algorithms for YouTube. I always forget to say that. But look, we're still in this new year, and I'm super excited still about this new year. I got lots of things that I'm doing. You can see I'm in a different space because I'm doing some things to update the space that I was in. So that is new and exciting and coming really soon to a theater near you. So that being said, let's kind of start getting into our conversations. Hey, Cynthia. Hey, Naresh. How you doing? I haven't seen any comments from my people in LinkedIn, but that's okay. You all will catch up with us, okay? So first, one of the things that always happens, at least for me, just to kind of get us going, is that I'm always in a situation as a trainer where people will always, I've been a certified Scrum trainer since 2013, right? And a lot of times, people over the years have always come back to me to say, hey, I need to recertify. I need to continue my journey. What do I need to do? What steps I need to take? And so every year, especially around this time, as people start to renew, get closer to renewal, they get those letters, they start getting panicked or they pass the deadline and boom, we got to think about these things, right? And so my first thing to tell you with this whole renewal process is regardless of what organization you're a part of, if you have a certification and there are continuing education requirements, it's one of those things that you want to actually plan to do over time. I'll talk to you about my plan and I'll talk to you about the certifications that I have first so you at least understand the weight and why this is a topic of the day. So usually for me, I probably have gotten in the first 3 weeks of this year, I probably have gotten about 20 emails from people, calls, contacts in some kind of way, asking me very seriously, hey, what do I need to do to renew? How do I renew? What steps do I need to take in order to renew? And that's fine. I have no problem with telling people what to do. And normally I just send them 1 or 2 links and they're fine. But I want to talk to you about it, right? Because If you don't know, I'm a certified Scrum trainer, and that requires some certification. Some continuing education. I am also a PMP, a project management professional, and that requires what's called professional development units. So Scrum Alliance has Scrum education units, and PMI, who owns the PMP, they have professional development units. And then I'm a certified Six Sigma black belt, and they do recertification units, right? Or continuing education, as they may call it. And then I am a certified diversity practitioner, which also has its own set of, continuing education requirements, right? And so I'm always in a situation where I have to figure out what I need to do to make sure that when that time comes, I'm not running into the grace period, right? I'm not running into the grace period. And different organizations have different grace periods, okay? And what I mean by a grace period is when your time to certify has come and you've met that date, that's your deadline date. And if you're not certified by that point in time, if you haven't done what you need to do, you're officially done unless they have a grace period. Some organizations have a 1-year grace period. Others have, a 30-day, 90-day, 60-day, whatever it is, grace period. So you want to know that usually at the end, the next day after your expiration date doesn't mean that you're done being that certification. Normally for most organizations, because most organizations do have some understanding in terms of how they, will be a little bit flexible for the people that are certified under them, because people have different reasons why they may not have pursued or put in. Some people it's just a matter of, I haven't put in my certification units, my continuing education units. And others is more like, I forgot about it, I haven't done them, now let me go rush to do them. I don't know which case is you. I know in the past, I have always been the guy that would wait until it was over and then run to go get all my certification units, right? My continuing education. Just go get them all, spend a week or two, just knocking them out, okay? I learned to stop doing that because realistically, that's how you lose a certification. Because if you get busy around that time frame and you miss the grace period, then it's up, it's over, you're done, finito. You will have to go through whatever process that they need you to go through for you to, kind of make sure that your certification is good in the future. So you want to always remain in good standing. So I want to talk specifically about Scrum Alliance's certifications or recertification process, which is a little bit different than others, but I think every one of them has some little nuances. So my statement to you is really like this, right? The moment you get that certification, whatever certification that you have, you should just go ahead and just go to the page, the location, talk to someone about recertification. About, do I need to go through the process to recertify? Some things you don't have to do that, right? So, do you have to recertify when you get a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree? There's no recertification process for that, right? So when I became a Lean Six Sigma black belt through Villanova's program, Villanova University, there's no recertification units with that. But along with being that Lean Six Sigma black belt, I'm also a certified Six Sigma black belt. And as a certified Six Sigma black belt through the American Society of Quality, I have to have, I think, 18 recertification units, right? And so even though these are both Six Sigma black belts, a university is what gave me one, and then a certification body gave me another one, right? And so realistically, they just have different standards. Universities don't classically ask to recertify for bachelor's or professional certificates or things like that. But these others, they have a set of standards. They govern their standards. They normally have ethics. They normally have things that you got to do to make sure that you remain in good standing. But it's just a part of that recertification process, right? You remaining in good standing, not doing anything that really embarrasses them ultimately, I guess, would be what they would be more interested in you not doing. So now, let's talk a little bit more, right? Because if I go and I just focus on one of them, and then one I'm going to focus on is the Scrum Alliance, because here we normally talk about Scrum within this environment. So we're going to talk the Scrum Alliance's process. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Scrum Alliance page, and I'll pull that up if everything works out right here for me, because I've been changing everything around. So I'll talk to you from the essence of the Scrum Alliance. Now, again, Scrum Alliance has a body of certifications. The vast majority of us would have a certified Scrum Master certification. The certified Scrum Master certification is actually a foundational certification. Then they include other things as foundational certifications as well. The CSP, the Certified Scrum Product Owner, the Certified Scrum Developer are all what we would call foundational level certifications, okay? Now, that being said, that's important to understand that those are foundational level certifications. Because above that, I am also a Certified Scrum Practitioner. Now, above that, I'm a Certified Scrum Trainer. By me recertifying for the highest level in terms of Scrum Alliance, it recertifies everything below it. So if I am a Certified Scrum Master, as well as a Certified Scrum Product Owner, and then I'm a level above that. So let's just say I'm a Advanced Certified Scrum Master. Advanced Certified Scrum Master is not a foundational certification, it's an advanced level certification in terms of Scrum Alliance. When you recertify for that advanced, it cascades down and it recertifies the foundational certifications. So me as a Certified Scrum Trainer, I'm really at the top of my chain. I'm at the top of my chain. So if I recertify in terms of the Certified Scrum Trainer, it will do all the things below it. Every one of those things below it, it will take care of for me. So that works. That is really a plus, and I like the way that they handle that and do that, because Scrum Alliance has a hierarchy associated with their certifications. A lot of other organizations don't have a hierarchy in terms of that, so you may have to pay for each one separately, right? I know that if I was an American Society of Quality, and if I had my Six Sigma Black Belt, certified Six Sigma Black Belt, and then I had something associated with quality testing, right? Or audit, right? Just a different certification. I'd have to manage and pay for both of these things, right? Through them. So it is a little bit different, so you need to make sure you understand what the organization requires for you to do. Now, if we take this a little bit further and we want to understand this, remember, we're talking about Scrum Alliance specifically here, but I believe this applies to the broad spectrum of places that are going to hold you accountable for actually doing continuing education. And realistically, for me, if I was to take and show you Scrum Alliance's website, I'm going to their website. I'm not going to another location. I'm specifically going to Scrum Alliance's website, because Scrum Alliance is going to keep their website up to date. With Scrum Alliance, it is an objective that you recertify your certifications every couple years. Now, as you get to a CST, maybe even CEC, CTC, that may go down to a year. It gives you some basic information and really just tells you what that process is. It's not really a complicated process. And if you look right there, you can see you log into the Scrum Alliance, you hover over your name, upper right-hand corner, and then you'll see on the left-hand side, you'll see Manage SEUs, and you got to start putting in your Scrum education unit. So an SEU is fundamentally a Scrum education unit. It is Scrum Alliance's version of continuing education. So let me repeat that so you understand. There's this general broad topic of continuing education. In terms of the project management professional, in terms of the Project Management Institute, they have a PMP, a project management professional. That certification, for example, requires for you to get professional development units. A professional development unit is just a version of continuing education. So Scrum Alliance version of continuing education is actually the Scrum education units. So you are required to get Scrum education units in terms of Scrum Alliance. Now, I would recommend that you enter these things over time, not just all of a sudden. But if you're a certified Scrum Master or a certified Scrum Product Owner, you're at the foundational level, period, you don't have a whole lot to enter. And the reason why I say that is really simple. If you look at the renewal requirements, they're nothing crazy. There's nothing really outlandish, right? If you look, you see the foundational level certifications. You see those right there in the middle of your screen. And as you look at them, you'll see you'll see certain things there, like you see the actual CSM, CSPO, and the CSD. You also, if you go ahead and look toward the right-hand side, you'll see that there's 20 units required, and it's a $100 renewal fee. Now, they're just saying 20 Scrum education units. That's all you really need. And realistically, when you think about a Scrum education unit, what is a Scrum education unit is what most people would ask, right? How do you get these Scrum education units, right? You get them by doing Scrum. You get them by doing Agile related things, right? And if you look here, once again, there are categories, right? You'll see these 4 main boxes here. I'll make this a little bit smaller. These are the 4 categories that they're going to classically fall in. Okay? That is events, learning, volunteering, and then you have a box for other, right? Now, you should be able to get 20 Scrum education units just from the work that you do if you're doing things related to Scrum. Another way to get them is really by going to events, right? As you see with that first category. So, for example, as you see right here, it says, earn Scrum education units by participating in things like the Scrum Gathering, things like the regional gatherings, things like the non-Scrum Alliance sponsored events, right? And Scrum Alliance will sponsor events, okay? You have user groups that exist, right? And there are user groups that, in the days of COVID, a lot of user groups have gone online. So there's really no reason why you can't find a user group almost any weeknight of the week, period. Almost every weeknight, you can find a user group located somewhere. The time zones definitely will vary. But the idea is that you can find events that you can go to and get Scrum education units, okay? So, for example, I know that there is an Agile for Humanity conference coming up, in February, at some point in February. Now, if Agile for Humanity is sponsored by the Scrum Alliance, then I can earn Scrum Alliance or Scrum education units from that, okay? Because it's related to Scrum, it's related to Agile, it's related to the broad topic of Scrum, right? And so events are really, really amazing. I've attended some events in India. I've attended some events in Africa. I've attended some events in, almost every single time zone in the US. And so in terms of attending those events or being involved with those things, it's helpful. It's always a plus. Now, for me, a category that's next most important to me is going to be this one right here, volunteering. Okay? If you do some community-based work that you are offering Scrum-related services, non-compensated is the key here. Non-compensated Scrum-related services, okay? You can earn Scrum education units, okay? Now, this is really, really important, right? So, for example, you are attending an event that I'm putting on. I am not being paid to do this. And since I'm not being paid to do this, this will go into my background as a volunteer work, okay? It'll go as volunteer work because I'm doing something for the community, and this is roughly close to a user group. Maybe I even register it as that as well. Now, where does this benefit you at? Interesting. There's another topic, right? There's another topic called learning. Learning. And in this topic, allowable Scrum education units in this category, working with Scrum Alliance related people, like your CSTs, your Certified Scrum Trainers, like your CECs, Certified Enterprise Coaches, Certified Team Coaches, CTCs, your Registered Education Providers, right? These right here are places that you can go and work with people that have these certifications or organizations that provide education that Scrum Alliance kind of approves of. Well, guess what, y'all? I am a CST. This right here, you can utilize as a Scrum education unit. So like right now, the hour that you spend with me can be marked off as Scrum education units because you're actually learning from a CST. Does that make sense? Like anytime you and I have some kind of interaction, you can earn, well, I won't say anytime because you send me an email. That's just wrong. Don't try to do that, okay? Don't try to do that, okay? But if we connect and we have an exchange, and it's really a Scrum activities type of exchange, you can earn SEUs from this interaction, okay? So that means every other week, every week when we meet, whatever that is, you can earn Scrum education units. So realistically, if you just hang out with me for 20 nights this year, just 20 nights, that's it. 20 Mondays, you hang out with me. And I'm gonna go 20 Mondays at least, right? If you really think about it, there's 52. If I divide that in half to 26, assuming that there's some holidays on Monday because I didn't do anything on King's holiday, but we're doing this every week except for on holidays. So if you think minus the holidays, maybe we'll have this event right here 35 to 40 times this year, okay? So that means if you attend, more than half of those, you will have earned the Scrum education units that you need to recertify your CSM or CSPO or CSD, okay? Your foundation level certification. Because remember, all you needed was about 20. So that's not costing you any money. Not to mention, you can do some Scrum. You can really do some Scrum, right? Because here's the deal. Another category is other, right? Other learning activities that are related to this, okay? So you can show this to them and see if they approve it or not, right? There's other ways to learn. Now, going back to the actual learning, I want to point out reading articles, authoring books, writing blogs, watching training videos, reading one or two books deeply, really reading those books, not skimming over the books, right? So the idea is that you can earn time for each one of those activities because it's learning. So for example, I would guarantee you that on my journey, I started taking classes, journeying toward a PhD, right? And I would guarantee you that based on what I'm learning, I probably could apply what I'm learning and have that as being some other activity more than likely. Likely it'll fall under other, but I probably can claim some of these units. Now, there are limitations to how much you can put in each one of these categories, right? So they won't let you normally go put everything in one category and be done. They normally want to see you go across more than one category. So as you go down and look at the requirements, you see once again, that foundational level, 20 Scrum education units, okay? 20 Scrum education units, okay? That's really fundamentally all you're really looking at for foundational, and then $100 renewal fee every couple years. And then when you look at that advanced, it's 30 Scrum education units, right? For the advanced certified Scrum Master, the advanced certified Scrum product owner, that is actually 30. If you renew at that level, it will renew your foundational ones, right? And then you got professional level, you got a CSP, the dash SM is Scrum Master. You see CSP-PO, that's product owner, and then you get that CAL level 2 certification. These right here, those professional level certifications, and again, you renew one of those, it renews the ones that are cascaded below it. So realistically, you take a look here, this gives you all that information that you would need to understand to make sure that you can recertify and recertify without a lot of issue. Just recertify by just normally going through the process itself. So that would be an amazing thing for you to do in terms of working through this whole process. So I never found this to be difficult. The difficulty is in the other things when people just don't do it. So let's talk. If you have any questions, you are welcome to put your questions in the chat. You are welcome to join us on the show. Always, people that join us on the show will get higher priority, and that could very well change the topic of what we're talking about for the evening. But if you have a question or concern, you're welcome to join us on the show. I actually dropped it in the chat. I'll drop it in the chat once again for those that are on the actual Scrum Alliance, not Scrum Alliance, the YouTube. Then you join us on YouTube on our channel, or you're welcome to join us on LinkedIn, and you're welcome to, you'll see the links at least to join us live, or just drop your information in the chat and I'll be able to see either one of them, right, in either location. Now, I do have a question here. Will this session be classified as an event or learning category? Okay, now let's go back to them. Okay, and I want to just look at events, right? Let me answer this question, Naresh, for you. As I look here, I see, hey, earn Scrum education units for participating in events like Scrum Gathering, regional gatherings, non-Scrum sponsored events, let's see, user group events, and activities. Presenting, coaching, attending sessions all count as SEU eligible activities. Now, the thing that I will say to you that is official, this is not officially sponsored by the Scrum Alliance. Scrum Alliance has definitely written this up. Definitely talked about how we give back to the community, how I give back to the community, Bearded Eagle in general. But this is not officially a user group. It's not, okay? So this would not be considered an event. This would actually be considered a learning activity. So do you remember how I said to you earlier that anytime you have that learning exchange with a certified Scrum trainer or others on this list right here, you earn Scrum education units. So in this moment right now, you are having an exchange with a certified Scrum trainer. With me being a certified Scrum trainer, and then again, there's other certifications under Scrum Alliance that this applies as well. With me being a certified Scrum trainer, this interaction that we have right here means that you earn, for this hour we spend together, you earn 1 Scrum education unit. Okay? And you should go and record that, right, in your back end. Log in, go to your profile, right? Click on your picture. You'll see some lists there. Manage SEUs. Click on that and enter this as that 1 hour. So if you go ahead and spend some time with me this year, you definitely can get all the Scrum education units you need without paying any money. You hear that? You hear how beautiful that is? Without paying any money. And we always talk about different topics and you know, stuff like that. But the idea is that you are welcome to utilize this to your advantage, right? Because all we're really talking about here is Scrum. It's just Scrum. So, Naresh, this would be considered a learning activity. So this would be under the learning category in terms of these right here. And I don't remember how many or what percentage, how many you can utilize for this. The Scrum Alliance will let you know how many of these would max out that particular category. That would be the only thing that I'll be concerned about if I'm you, is that I'll say to myself, okay, I got 20 Scrum education units, right? And so I know that I can get X percentage from here, X percentage from here, X percentage from here. And so I'll be just going ahead and just going there and put in, like, literally, my challenge to you, Naresh, and everybody else is here, right? My challenge to you is this. Take tonight's event. Go ahead and go into your Scrum Alliance backend and log this as an activity. So you can see what else you need to do. Because once you log this as an activity, you log it under learning, they will let you know how many you have in that particular category. And then look at the other categories to see have you gotten it all covered or what else you need to do or what the maxes are. Because you may just say, hey, I just want to go take a class. But if I'm going to take a class, let me take a class that's going to allow me to get some Scrum education units when I take that class. Maybe it's from my REP, right? Or, you know, some other thing that someone's doing, right? The idea, though, is that I want you to make sure you understand and you start planning for this, right? You start planning to make this thing happen for yourself. Because if you don't, you're going to get to that time you're going to get to that time where you're like, it's time to renew. I don't know what a Scrum education unit is. I got a problem. But you don't have to have that problem now, right? Because I'm teaching you about what this is, right? I'm teaching you what you need to do. Now, here's the deal. I want to talk to you about what I do so you understand at least me, okay? So I'm not unique. I just have an issue that I have a lot of education units to get over time. I have no choice because I got several certifications that require for me to continue to be up on my game. Now, that being said, I make a plan. My plan is a quarterly plan. So every quarter, I carve out some time. Now, for me, I own a business, I'm in school, I got this going on, that going on. So what I've done for this year is between my class sessions, like one quarter ends, another quarter begins, I put in a week where I don't train, right? I don't let nobody bother me, right? And I mark off that week as a time for me to deal with my continuing education. I do that once a quarter, every quarter, right? That's my plan. Now, if there's a training that doesn't happen during that week, then I know that I need to schedule that training for whenever and wrap things around that and pull things forward or back into the time slot that I had allocated for it, so then I don't lose any time or take away from anything I need to take away from. So realistically, I am making a plan. I'm making a quarterly plan to take a look. And you can do the same thing because all you need to do is just one weekend every 3 months. Just one day, just a few hours. Let's say you just spend 2 hours thinking about it, right? 2 hours this Saturday, right? This is Q1. Then do it Q2, Q3, Q4, and really take a look at your stuff and start planning out what you plan to do. Now, why do I say that? Because the reason why I plan mine out that way is because there are certain conferences I want to go to. There are certain things that I want to do. I just want to make sure that those things are covered in terms of my Scrum education units. And then another thing I want to do is I want to double dip, people. I really want to double dip. Just because I use something for Scrum Alliance doesn't mean I can't use it for PMI. Do you understand? So if I go to a classic Scrum related something, if I have a choice between something that's purely Scrum and something that's Scrum with some project management in it, I'm probably gonna pick the Scrum with some project management in it, right? Why? Because I can double dip. Do you understand? So if I go to an 8-hour class that's related to Scrum, also talking about project management, that means I need to put some in this bucket for PMI and put some in this bucket for the Scrum Alliance. Just because I use them for PMI doesn't mean I can't use them for the Scrum Alliance. These organizations are not connected to each other. So I'm always trying to double dip, triple dip, quadruple dip if I can, right? So it's one of those things that I'm thinking about, right? So just like with this PhD, I guarantee you, topic we're covering right now, legality. There's a whole ton of legality when it comes down to a sort of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Just think about, Title IV, civil rights. Think about that by itself, right? Think about disabilities. Think about, racism, sexism, ageism. All those things are illegal. And we're talking about that right now. We're talking about that right now, literally, right? And so will I be able to use what I'm learning right now as education units for certified for that diversity, equity, and inclusion? Yes, certainly. I'm a double dip. I'm going to double dip. Trust me on that one, right? And when I do my dissertation, I guarantee you, guess what I'm going to do? Double, triple dip. I'm a double or triple dip. I'm going to try to quadruple dip if I can, right? So realistically, double dipping is what I love to do, but I double dip based on me planning it out is the point, right? So I plan to double dip. So, it's not something you want to just think about in a moment because then you register for the wrong type of class, right? You want to figure out if something's going to be able to meet your requirements before you attend it. That way you know whether you're going to, when you go and do this thing, it just gives you more pride when you double dip. Trust me, double dipping is fun. Double dipping, not skinny dipping, double dipping, okay? So, that being said, I think I got another question, right? I have both the CSPO and the Advanced Certified Scrum Master. In this case, it seems the hierarchy does not apply across both. I need 30 Scrum education units for the ACSM, and I need 20 Scrum education units for the CSPO. Naresh, that's not true. You should have a certified Scrum Master as well. So, Naresh, I'm assuming that you have a CSM and an ACSM. If you have a CSM and an ACSM, that means that when you renew your ACSM, it should recertify everything in the foundational level. So your CSPO should get renewed with your certified Scrum Master, and you should only need 30 Scrum education units. That's it. The higher level, like literally, the higher level certifies the lower level. It's just part of what, that's the, and literally, okay, let me see. Right here. Right here, look at this. You only need to pay to renew one of your highest level certifications. Your other certifications will auto renew when you renew that one. You hear that? But you must add at least half of the SEUs required for each of the other certifications first. There we go. So that's all you really need to do. That's it. Okay? Now, if they're saying that at least half, let's assume that you got to get 40 for the advanced level. But again, you only need to get 30 because I only need to get X amount for my CST. And that's that same number, and it recertifies everything else. So you have the CSM, Naresh. No question you do. You got the CSM because you wouldn't have been able to get the ACSM if you didn't have the CSM. So once you do that ACSM, it should recertify the foundational level certifications. All of them. It should, from my understanding. Now, could I be wrong? I very well could be. Scrum Alliance is the ultimate arbitrator of this. So, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But based on my understanding, based on how I've always worked things, it's always been the highest certification certifies the ones that are below it. So I would just go with that highest one, get my 30, and then renew. All they can tell you is no. All they can tell you is no. That's it. That's all they can tell you is no. They can't go anywhere beyond that, right? So very, very, very important, right? So the idea is that the higher level renews the rest. Another thing that I just found out today, I verified and validated today. For the Scrum Alliance, you actually have a 90-day grace period. So if you officially have a 90-day grace period with the Scrum Alliance, right? So that means if your certification is over today is the 24th, right? The 24th of January. That means you have 90 days. So not counting every month, not counting for months that are 28 days versus 31. You have until the 24th of April to make sure that you get that certification done. To make sure you get your Scrum education units, to make sure you do everything that you need to do. So you got 90-day grace period to do it. So even if you was to miss out on it right now, you literally was to miss out on it right now, okay? Then guess what? You got 90 days to get it right. You got 90 days to get it right, okay? So very, very, very important, okay? Very, very, very important. And I want to clear this up. Look at what it says here. You only need to pay. Let me see if I can highlight this in some kind of way. You only need to pay, right? You only need to pay to renew the one at the highest level, the higher level, right? Your other certifications, you hear that S on that? Your other certifications will auto-renew when you renew that one. It says certifications, okay? So I would go with the fact that you're going to auto-renew the rest of them if you renew the one at the top level. So renew the one at the top level and you're good. I mean, I told someone today, right? There's going to end in March. They want to take the ACSM. I said, look, you got a 90-day grace period. You're welcome to come to ACSM in April. And you got a 90-day grace period. So as long as yours end in March, then end of April, you'll have your ACSM, and that will auto-renew the other certifications. So I'm like, that's what you should do, buddy. That's if you want to save some time, save some money. It's up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but that's what I was thinking, right? So realistically, I told them to do that. Well, I didn't tell them to do that. I said, this is something you can do. Here's how I would handle it. But ultimately, the Scrum Alliance is the arbitrator, and they're the ones who are going to let you know whether you're doing the right thing or not. Okay? I do my best to follow the rules. Okay? All right, so that being said, let's see. Did you say that you have a diversity and inclusion certification? I absolutely do. I am a certified diversity practitioner, a CDP. That's what I am. A CDP, a certified diversity practitioner. Yes, I am that. I got that certification probably over a year now, because I just told myself, I'm not doing nothing else. Let me go ahead and get certified in this, because I'm always asked to do that kind of work, but now it's official, right? So that's a good thing, right? So let's see. How are you tying these together? I have a CSM CSPO. Well, here's the deal, Cynthia. How am I tying these two together? Because Scrum Alliance ties them together. Scrum Alliance calls those certifications at that level foundational certifications. Hear my words, right? They call them foundational certifications, okay? And these foundational certifications are the CSM, Certified Scrum Master, CSPO, Certified Scrum Product Owner, CSD, Certified Scrum Developer. All three of them are foundational. If you get an advanced Certified Scrum Master, then all you have to do is renew the advanced, and it will renew the ones below it. Okay? So that's really, really amazing. It's really, really good. It's really, really serious, because that means you're not spending all your change, all your money trying to get all these certifications done, right? Can you imagine if you had to get 20 for CSM, 20 for CSPO, 20 for CSD? That's 60 by itself, right? And then imagine if you went advanced and you had to get 30 there. That's 90. That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, it's really a lot, to be honest with you, right? It's a lot. So I have always loved Scrum Alliance philosophy of, the highest level really cascades the rest. Cascade renews the rest. So I always loved that. I appreciate that they do that, because I would be really confused about trying to address all of those separately. It would be really, really confusing, and I would not want to do that. I wouldn't want to touch that at all. Okay, this is the reason why I don't have a whole lot of, like ASQ certifications, right? Because it would be torture for me to have 3 of them and have to manage 3 of them separately. I already have separate things I got to manage anyway, and so I want to make sure that I'm good and I stay good with the organizations that I want to remain good with, right? So this is super exciting. Thank you for the congratulations. I always appreciate any kind of congratulations that I can get, so then we can be good to go. I'm over here like trying to figure out why my thing is shining this way. So I got an extra shadow over there coming from somewhere, and I don't even know how it's getting there, but that's okay. We'll get there. We're doing things. We're trying to do amazing things. All right, so that's Lester. Lester's been around since you've been around since like 1994. I got him made in 94 down in Miami. Somebody painted him on the side of the road for me, right? So I like Lester. Lester's traveled with me a lot of places. Yeah, we got hit by Hurricane Andrew, like in '92 down in Miami. I'm from Chicago. Now, don't get it twisted, right? But we get hit by Hurricane Andrew down there. And when I went down there to see family and everything else, I ended up getting that, bringing it home, So that being said, I'm surprised. We are really a little time into this. I thought that this was going to be a really short conversation. So that being said, if you have any questions in relationship to certifications, in relationship to renewing certifications, please drop your questions in the chat, whether it's LinkedIn or on YouTube, and I will take a look at them and try to answer them for you in this particular call. Because what I'm going to do in the future is going to focus people to this live and say, hey, here's a link. Go take a look at that. We talked about it for an hour. Just go take a look, because that's when we get into it, right? So any questions that you have, please drop them in the chat. I think most things here are really super self-explanatory. I really do think that they are. So I don't see any. I'm not anticipating tons of questions. But if you have them, there's no dumb questions. No dumb questions whatsoever. Just drop them in the chat. And again, if you like this kind of content, like me on YouTube, like this on LinkedIn. You can't subscribe on YouTube, but subscribe to this on YouTube, and then share this with other people, right? Share this with other people, right? Because again, this is free. This is a good way to get some Scrum education units. In case you want some that don't cost you no real money, this is a good way to go. At least that's how I would think about it. It always amazed me how the PMI has various chapters around the world. And the one thing that PMI has a real true lock on is having those project management dinners, right? And so once a month, they'll have a dinner, speaker comes in, it'll be a really nice sit-down dinner, and you earn PDUs from attending those events. I always thought that was amazing because no matter what city I've ever been in, whether it was San Antonio, Dallas-Fort Worth has 2 different chapters, Chicago's chapter, chapter in New England, New York. I've been and seen a lot of different chapters, and the one even down in Brazil, right? I remember going to Brasilia and, working with a chapter down there at one point, right? And so it's one of those things where I think these kind of things, being able to keep yourself fresh, being able to make sure that you take your profession and treat it with some degree of respect by always learning, always growing, is one of those things that I really like about these certifications having some continuing education requirements, right? And the good thing for me is I found that I can take this and use them for my own diabolical schemes, right? So if I got something I really want to do, something I really want to achieve, I try to focus my work, my continuing education around those kind of topics that really, really interest me. So if I'm you, I would pick something that I'm interested in, right? And I would really go all in terms of my education units for that particular year. I can tell you right now, this year, I am going to be thinking about how I can incorporate research methods into providing evidence-based coaching, evidence-based solutions for my clients, right? And so realistically, most of the things that I will be focusing on will be around researching and understanding research much better. So and then I can kind of escalate myself, at least move myself to a different place. But it's gonna be that focal point that is gonna allow me to address it, right? Sorry about the microphone. It was the microphone that was giving me issues. It's turning a little bit for some strange reason, but that's okay. It's having its own fun. It got a mind of its own. So that being said, that's at least how I'm handling it this year. It's gonna be a lot around research this year as I work toward a dissertation one day, even though I'm just beginning this journey. So that being said, that's a good thing. So that's how I handle it. And I told you about how I plan things out. I do things quarterly. If you do things quarterly, enter things quarterly, I think that's a good way to do it. That's the best way for me that I found that I don't end up in the end putting a bunch of things in at the last minute. Okay. So for me, it's always a concern because I have so many to do. Okay. And being able to manage those dates and everything else with that is really, really important. And mine for this quarter is coming in February. Yeah, it's coming in February. So I'm looking forward to that, right? I'm looking forward to that because that's going to be some time I really sit down and, concentrate on a topic I really want to concentrate on. Now, here's the deal. Another question. Any suggestions for unique, interesting sessions to watch or attend for SEUs? I'm going to say this is an interesting session to watch for SEUs. I think this is a good one, right? But if I'm you, I would, Naresh, I would think to myself, what do I want to do in my Scrum journey next? Like, what do I want to achieve in my Scrum journey next? Okay? So, for example, if I felt that I wanted to be more of an agile coach, I would, for example, read Sherry Silas's book on enterprise agile coaching. I would also be looking for, webinars, different sessions, whether it's a user group that focused in on coaching, right? I recently saw one that was about coaching executives, right? And that right there, if you are interested in that kind of topic, would help you, right? So the first thing I would do is figure out my why first, right? Figure out your why, and then let your why guide you to the right places. So and then you're selecting things that pique your interest. That way you're actually getting something out of it. I don't want to spend an hour in anything where I don't get any benefit from that hour of time that I've spent there. So I would say to you the same thing. Make sure that when you spend time, that you spend time within an area that's purposeful for you, that really resolves your why. You do that, and boom, you really just mastered the key, right? You got the master key to the entire game, and you know how to play the game very well. So it's almost like you're cheating when you do that, because at that point, it doesn't feel like you're involved in the class, right? And for me, probably the most fun events to attend is always user groups, right? Because in a user group, what normally happens is they talk for 15, they'll have a speaker speak for 15 to 30 minutes. Normally the first 5 minutes of the user group is announcements, people getting to know each other. So you can say the first 5 to 10 minutes is gonna be that. The next 15, 20 minutes is gonna be somebody doing something, speaking, topic, whatever it is, right? Discussing those things, right? Then you get to ask questions, and then you get to monitor, you get to socialize with people, right? You get to powwow, you get to have conversations. And so in that hour, you're not just being educated on a topic, you're also getting an opportunity to network. So for me, I also like to do that as well, because then I get to learn something about people, and you get to hear the stories about things that are happening in their organization. So for me, your most interesting topics should be things that answer your why. Should be things that are purposeful for you. That's what it should be. So before I do anything else, I'm understanding my why, and I'm using my why to guide me. So, for example, my why for this year is to become a better researcher. My why for this year, I'm very interested in becoming a better researcher, because ultimately I want to provide evidence-based solutions for you, right? And if I'm going to provide evidence-based solutions, I need to be able to get that research thing down, pat, right? And so realistically, I'm looking for things that's going to help me with that. So the most interesting sessions for me are things that are focused in on that. Hopefully that makes sense, right? Hopefully that makes sense, right? Hopefully it does. If it does, then, just give me some personal finger snaps. Like, for real, finger snaps, right? You ain't got to give no finger snaps. I can't see him anyway. I'm just here all by myself. But the point I'm making to you is that's how I would do it. And that's how I'm doing it right now. I mean, I'm literally practicing what I preach in terms of this, right? If I was in a field that didn't have anything to do with IT, I was in a field where there's not a lot of Scrum people, I'd be trying to figure out who else has been doing this in these other fields. Like, a good field would be Agile in HR, right? If I was an HR professional, I would definitely be reading everything I can about Agile in HR, and anything that comes up in terms of HR that got any relationship to Agile, I'm in it all day. I would go look at the Agile HR manifesto, take a look at that, read that a few times. And so realistically for me, I'm just trying to find that connection between me and the material, between me and what I want to learn, between me and what I want to continually educate myself on. So I would take that route versus anything else. Okay? So that's a good thing. That's an amazing thing. Here's what I'll ask you to do, because it's getting close to our time to kind of close out. I think I've answered all the questions in the chat. I think I've done everything that we need to do in terms of answering questions about how I handle this thing and what you can do. If you have any additional questions, throw them in the chat. But I'm going to ask you all to do me a favor. For those people that are still here, that's made it through all the way to this point, what topics do you think I should talk about next? So if you had a topic that we should talk about next week, what would that topic be? Do me a favor, throw what you think, something you're interested in, talking about, throw it in the chat for me, okay? Throw it in the chat for me, and maybe we'll talk about it next week, maybe not. I'm probably going to create some board at some point for topics, you know, because I'm just going based on what I see, what I think people need based on how people are interacting with me, but that may not be the biggest thing that's going on, and I would definitely love to talk about some of the bigger things that's going on with you all. So and then I can make sure that I have content here that meets your needs and also meets people's needs in the future, because my whole purpose in doing this was to create a legacy of content, right? You know, to have content there for people to consume at any time that they want to, in any country that they decide to do that in. That's what I would really, really want them to do. So I'm really, really interested in that. And I see someone has maybe even spamming us to some degree. That's the first time I've seen spam in the comments. But whatever interesting topics, right, is what I would really, really want to talk about. Any of those things, just throw them in the chat for me, and we will try to make sure we cover some of those topics in the future. I see interviewing for Scrum roles, right, using transferable skills. I actually like that. That's an interesting topic, because transferable skills, like servant leaders, happen in every industry, right? As a Scrum Master, you have tons and tons and tons of transferable skills, right? You know, I was talking to one of my kids who, you know, I certify all my kids, right? Talking to one of my kids who is a certified Scrum Master, and he was a little down about, you know, him and Scrum and stuff like that. And I'm just like, dude, you know, you're the one person in the family that knows how to talk to everybody. You're the one person that takes care of everybody. You're the one person that looks out for everybody. You're the one person who serves everybody. You know, you may not see that, but that is what the Scrum Master does, just in a professional environment. So you do that for the family just naturally. So that's transferable, man. That's what you do. You know, and then, you know, sometimes it takes a second for it to click for people. And you have to find some ways, especially if you're brand new to this thing, to take some of those skills. I never say throw away old skills, right? Unless they're completely useless, right? But take old skills that you have and try to find ways to transfer them into what you're doing. I do it all the time. There's no question, right? You know, I kind of look at myself, you know, I used to a long time ago say that I'm just a blue collar I'm just a blue collar worker working in a white collar world, right? Well, I call that hustle. I just call it hustle, right? That's what I learned from the streets of Chicago. Hustle. So, blue collar worker in a white collar world. Hustle. Starting a business called Bearded Eagle. Hustle. You understand? So for me, you know, that skill is transferable. You know, if I go and look at somebody like Jay-Z selling, you know, illegal drugs, right? Turns into selling records, right? Turns into doing all the businesses that he does today. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Does that make sense? So for me, that's a transferable skill, right? So how can you do that? How can you do that? But anyway, if you got any topics, please drop them in the chat. Whether it's one, more topic, doesn't matter to me. You know, I'm going to actually get a form because I'm making sure we move environments, and I'm going to make sure that I start sending emails out to people. So I'm going to create a list at some point, and I'll give you that list and everything else, so then you can be a part of the conversation that happens after this or outside of this, just in case you want to keep talking. So on that note, I'm really happy about this today. I'm really happy about doing this work here with you, for you. I'm always amazed about taking an opportunity to serve you. I'm really excited about this hour that we spend each week. I'm really, really super excited about it. I'm going to keep doing it. I want to see you here with me. And we're going to pick a topic next week, and maybe the topic will be transferable skills or working with difficult employees, right? We'll throw it up in the air and see which one sticks. But the idea is that I love being here with you all. I love taking this opportunity and taking a moment. So on that note, I'm going to say to you, I really, really appreciate the time we spent this week. Hopefully you have gained some knowledge about the topic of renewing your certification. And I believe in general, what we talked about right now, and what we talked about today, is the same thing you can do for any other certifications, as long as you understand their rules and their expectations on what you need to do. They all are likely going to have a grace period. They all have certain expectations or categories that things fall into. So just take a look at it. You have any questions about it, you're welcome to bring those things to us next week, and we can bring back this topic if you want to. If you got anything specific to talk about, anybody always can welcome to join the show too. So on that note, I'm going to say, look, it has been a pleasure. Again, my name is Devon Morris. If you enjoyed what you saw tonight, if you enjoyed what we talk about here, then like this, subscribe to it on YouTube. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep rolling that content. One of my goals this year is to get to 1,000 people subscribed on YouTube. So help me meet that goal. Other than that, I will see you all next Monday at 8 p.m. sharp Central Time, people. Enjoy your week. This is Devon Morris over and out. Peace. See you next week. Thank you.